So I really enjoyed the behind the scenes stuff, which we kind of did things like that already that didn't really make the cut. I mean, you have to understand, I would mess with Ian all the time, because I would stay in Sebastian's voice while recording. I'd be in for an 8-hour day, and I would just stay in this voice. We'd go to lunch together, and I would stay in this voice, because Ian would dare me to do it. And I'm like, this is not difficult for me, so I don't know if this constitutes a dare, but all right. And he would stay in Bard's voice if you wanted to do it. It was just, I don't know, you love doing it so much, you want to take it outside of the booth sometimes. And so getting to sort of do the behind the scenes thing, although technically still in the booth, felt like just another chance to stretch your legs with those characters, which I always don't have the chance to do. Thank you, good question.
Hello, Sensei.
Hello, darling, how are you?
Oh, thank you. I have 2 questions. One's really short, and then the one is the kind of the one I asked you last night about the stories. But this one is...
Be careful, people will talk. I'm kidding. Go on, love.
The first question is, would you consider Okabe a Time Lord?
Ooh, Okabe. Who here's seen Steins Gate? Really? The rest of you suck. Steins Gate, let me quickly plug Steins Gate. Steins Gate, I often say that it's hard for me to pick favorites and favorite characters that I've played, but Steins Gate was one of those rare shows that not only I got the chance to work on the adapted scripts as a lead writer, but I also got to play the lead character, who does a lot of very intense time travel, and it is probably one of the most amazing shows I've ever worked on in my life. And if I had to pick a favorite, it would be it, with just almost no contest. And I've worked on some amazing shows, but I will never work on something as amazing as Steins Gate again, because such a creature simply does not exist. But, yeah, I would consider Okabe a Time Lord. I mean, he's certainly got his stripes. So, maybe he's the beginning of the Time Lords. You never know. There's a lot of Time Lord jokes written into the script, by the way, for those of you that are Doctor Who fans. Wow, okay, watch Steins Gate. Yes, there's Dr. Red of it. Bow ties are cool. Steins Gate's cool. Yeah, I do a lot. Me and Patrick Seitz, who worked on the adapted scripts together, did a lot of nods to Doctor Who throughout the series. So it's really fun. You should go check it out. And you had a second question, yes?
Yes. Can you please tell us one of your stories, like you do on that anime show about one of your past tense of scary things?
The ghost stories.
Yes, please, just one.
Oh, all right. Okay, this is going to be a scary story. How are we doing on time? I try to, if you're who here likes a good scary story? Some people that raise their hand I don't care about them. Okay, this one technically did not happen to me, but it is my favorite ghost story that a friend of mine told me. I have 2 friends. It happened to 2 friends, and both of them told me the same story, so I love it. God, now I feel like the light should come down, and I should have a candle. No, do not turn the lights off. I would know you're there, and that's quite enough. Okay.
Don't blink.
Every time I blink, that body pillow gets a little closer. My friend was a friend that I knew her in high school, but this happened to her way before we met. She was about, I guess, 10 or 11, and she lived on the outskirts of town. I grew up in the country in Texas, not really the country, but kind of what you would consider the country if you've grown up in a city. It's one of those little suburbs that's surrounded by trees, and cows, and things that make noises at night. That city people go, what is that? That's not a train or a car, it sounds alive. And she grew up in this town, in this little suburb even further out from where I did, and she had her friend over one night. She lived with her mother in this nice kind of older house. I don't know that the house had any history of haunting or whatever, but basically this is a short version of the story. They were about 10 and 12, she and her friend, and they were sleeping over at her place. Her mom was in bed, and they, they're up, eating cookies or telling stories or whatever girls do, I don't know. And they thought they were being too loud because they thought they heard her mom, puttering around in the kitchen, and said, oh, we need to be quiet. Well, they didn't hear anything, or mom never came to the room to say anything, so they got up to check out and see if she got up. So they went up, and the house was dark, and no one was in the kitchen, and put the body pillow down. And indeed, her mother was, oh my God, they really are all over the place. Like, oh my God. And really, not a single Thor among you. Not a single Thor. Damn it. Okay, so, sorry. Back to the mood of the story. So the house is dark. No one is in the kitchen. They decide to creep into her mother's bedroom to see if she is indeed still asleep. When they go into the bedroom, they look, and of course the door is open, because I guess she sleeps with the door open. And she had this nice big bed. You have to picture, though, on one side there's this window. And in the window, there was sitting like an old Singer sewing machine, a very old antique, the kind you have to pump, like an iron pump at the bottom, you know, one of those really, really fantastic. It's usually got really great, like, laminate paint and stuff on it. And like inlays and stuff, and they had it as part of the house, or it was part of the collection of antiques they had in the house. And standing at this thing, at this Singer sewing machine, was like the 4-foot-tall figure of what looked like a child. Only it wasn't like it was just the form. Like you couldn't make out any details of like clothing or anything like that. It was just this sort of glowing, luminous, 4-foot-tall, vaguely human form that, with its back to them and its arm raised, kind of over, and it was like feeling above it, as though it were trying to feel like almost like it was looking for a key on a door ledge or something. You know how that goes? But there was nothing there. It was just kind of doing this weird thing. And of course, these two young girls see this, and they're like, "Oh my God, what is that? And they're slowly freaking out as they realize that this should not be here." And apparently, it heard them and turned around and looked at them, and both of them described its face as being absolutely horrible, just like this.
Did it have a gas mask?
What?
Did it have a gas mask?
It did not have a gas mask. Might have been better if it had a gas mask, because she described it as being like the mouth and the eyes and the nose all sunken back. But you could still see pupils, and it just looked so deranged and sad at the same time, and its mouth was just carved into this deep, deep, frown. And they screamed, of course, as you would when you see a glowing 4-foot childlike ghost thing staring at you with a death's head. And they ran for their lives. And strangely enough, it didn't wake up her mother, so they're sitting in their room just waiting for someone to come and rescue them. And after about an hour or so, they decide, okay, we need to go check on Mom again. So they very quietly open up their door. Now the door is at the end of this long hallway.
Oh, God.
Stop me if you've heard this one. And they opened up the door very, very quietly, and just at the end of the hallway is the figure with its back turned to them again. And just as the shaft of light from the door hits it, it turns around immediately, and now its face is angry and almost demonic looking, and it begins bounding down the hallway towards them at full throttle. And they're like, it's like, barricaded with everything they've got, like, the toy box, the dresser, the mattress, and they just proceed to, like, hold each other and, like, rock back and forth, screaming all night long, as you do when you're being assaulted by some supernatural thing. And that's it, like, that's the story, like, nothing happened after that. But imagine, like, just your heart leaping into your throat when you see this thing coming down the hallway. Like, yeah, that image has stayed with me forever. So thank you. That's my ghost story. That was the shortest version I've ever told. All right, another question.
Oh God, I'm shaking.
Oh, was it a scary story? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
It's not the story.
What?
It's not the story.
Oh, you're just shaking.
Yes.
Are you cold?
I would like you to sing your Sebastian voice, see how do you like it rough?
Everyone's like, oh, this does not bother me. I do not care. I'll be like, see how do